name is Royal. Today we had a great day in the market. It's Monday, January 12th, and there were two stocks that actually made really good moves today. I'm going to show both of those for you and talk a little bit through my execution and what I was thinking. The first one I want to look at is EVTV. You can see that at 9:52, I actually had an entry which would have been 6:52 my time. So I took an entry right here at $1.18, which would have been kind of this green candle right there. And you can see on my position monitor, I took this entry at $1.18, 1,500 shares. And then as this lost the 8 and the 21 and started to pull back, I ended up taking my exit at $1.09. So I had a small loser on that trade. It actually ended up being about $130 total. And I then shifted gears and went to look at BDSX, which was going off on the scanner. So BDSX, if I pull that one up, we'll zoom out on it here. This was hitting the scanner again at the market open. And I took my trade on this one at 10:01, which would have been 7:01. And what I was looking for on this is this $7 candle here. I was looking for this candle right here at 7 o'clock. I was looking at this to make a break and then push up through high of day. So 876, I bought in just slightly below that at 864. You can see that entry right here on my trading monitor. I bought 500 shares and then I added at 878 on the next candle. And what I was looking for was this to get momentum and recapture high of day and make the move higher. That's not what happened. I kept my stop loss tight, so I had 1,000 shares here, and I ended up selling at 848. So my back of mind target was 850, that if we lost 850, which you can see there's some lower wicks here, 855, 856, there's a couple more here at 853. So I was kind of watching this horizontal support level right through there. And I determined that if we lost that support level, I needed to be out and then just move on, or at least keep an eye on it on a side chart. So I went ahead and took my exit at 848. That ended up being a total loss of about $230, which you can see right there, BDSX. Now at that point, right as this was happening, I took this exit. EVTV started to hit the momentum scanner again. So just keep in mind, this is 10:04 Eastern time. So we're going to switch back to EVTV. And we're going to go look at our 10:04 Eastern time. That's 10:04 a.m. So we're going to scoot over here. It's obviously made an awesome move in the after hours. We're going to take a look at this 10:04 time here. So we're going to go in and zoom here. And what we're going to look at is that when the scanner started to go off again. Now, I've pulled up my position summary here so you can see, and I've got my trades for my trading monitor. So this candle right here is what started to trigger on the scanner. So there's a momentum scanner that I follow, and this started to hit the running up scanner. And as this came up through the running up scanner, I started to add. And what I was looking for was this break and a continuation. Now, that's not exactly what happened. It kind of broke the pre-market high, which you can see that pre-market high is this dashed line at 127. It just barely touched that. That hit 128 and then pulled back and consolidated. Well, on my trading monitor here, you're going to see my ads. So I took my first entry at 121. That's this blue line right here. So 121 was my entry. What I was looking at on the TTM squeeze is we were transitioning back to weak bear. So we had been in this mid compression squeeze all through here, as you can see on the TTM, and this is all just sideways action. Now the squeeze fired lower, and then we got this recovery. And as I saw this candle come up through, or it was hitting the scanner while I was watching BDSX, and I looked at this TTM trend candle at weak bear, I thought, wow, we might get a transition back to strong bull, and this may reclaim pre-market high. So I took my entries there at 121. I'm going to show you on my trading monitor. I had 121, 121, 121, 122. Those are all on that 10:04 candle, 122, 123. Now, it got a little drop down. I added there at 119, and then 122, 123, 123. So this 10:04, 10:05, 10:05 is right here on this next larger candle. And then 10:12 was when I added an additional 500. and that's clear over here to the side. So that was at 123, which would have been about right there. So my average cost ended up being 122 basically with all of these ads. Um, so I've drawn that line at 121. Now I did have to sit through this sideways action, and as we were TTM strong bull, I'm okay with that. I can see the momentum rising. My EMA is holding. We do get this little pullback to 119. The low of this candle is 119, and then we kind of double bottom right through here. So I'm going to draw that just so everybody can see this a little bit more easily. But we end up bottoming right here through 119, kind of right through there. Okay. So we end up bottoming there, and then we start to get this momentum higher. Now, I I was excited about this because we started to get this ramp up. It was uncomfortable. I had to sit through this sideways consolidation and kind of wait, but I wanted to be in a position that if this just ripped higher, I was there and ready. So I ended up just over 14,000 shares as the position that I had. And as this popped up, I ended up taking my first exit at 1020, which is this candle right here at $1.33. Now, it is really easy, and especially for me as I'm working and trying to improve my trading, it's really easy to look at this after the fact and say, well, you should have just held all the way to 162. And because that's when you get the first real red candle, which subsequently was a halt down, but that is when you get the first real loss of the ADMA. And you'd be right. And that's an area where I'm pushing to improve upon, is that as I have these green candles proving me right, that ideally I'd actually be adding to my position, and then as I lose the ADMA, maybe looking to take off here. Now, I did sell, so I ended up selling 3,500 shares at 133, another 2,600 at 133. So these are the lower candles right here where I sold. We do get a really nice first 1 minute candle to make a new high right there at 135. So again, with some discipline, this would have been my add back. So I would have been adding back at 135. I already took some off at 133. I could add back even a partial position and then look for the next leg up. Subsequently, I didn't do that. I ended up taking more off up here at 145. And really, what I was cognizant of was the $1.50 level. I thought that there would be some psychological resistance here. There was. We hit 149, 2 candles, a couple of tails up through, and then as we regained this topping tail, it was, off to the races up to the 170s from 150. So really nice percentage gainer. At this point, when I took my entries, we were up 100% already, and then this moved to where it was up 240% up in this range, which was awesome. So really nice trade overall. My final exit was at 10:25, 10 minutes 25, sorry, 10:25 a.m. and it's on this candle right here. And as we couldn't get through that 150, I ended up setting a sell limit there at 145, and it filled at 145. $1.45. So really nice trade. As you can see, I left about half of the opportunity, maybe not quite half the opportunity on the table, which again, if I'm thinking strategically and I see, these larger extension candles now, these ones aren't really, really big. These are obviously much larger. But as I see those larger extension candles, then I could be looking to, possibly take some exits. I am glad I didn't get stuck in the halt down at 150. I would have needed to, hopefully set something back up here in the 160s rather than panic selling at the 150s, which could have theoretically been close-ish to my break even, depending on what my ad was. But overall, really nice trade. I ended up $2,080 on this stock today for a net gain in the simulator trading account of $1,850.28. So again, I'm really working to chip away at on these days, be consistent, stay focused on my entries and on my exits. I am going to continue to dial in with practice this concept of the AEMA holding, and so I'm going to hold. And it doesn't mean that I can't take profits, but if I am going to take profits, I should then be thinking, okay, where can I add back? I want to be adding when I'm right. So I want to be small when I'm wrong, like the first initial position I took over here, which was just 1,500 shares. I want to be small when I'm wrong, and then I want to be really big when I'm right, which I did follow that. I was big. I had 14,000 shares, and I was obviously much bigger than my 1,500 shares that I lost 10 cents on. And so the concept there is, once I get these EMAs kind of lined out and it's holding that 21, I really want to ideally be adding most of the way up through here. So hopefully this review was helpful to you. I hope you had a great trading day today. I'm excited for this week. This is a nice way to start off the week, something that's up 240%. If we move forward, it's moved even more aggressively in the latter part of the day, kind of the power hours. And again, same concept. This pops up through, hits the 161. If you can be patient and let this get back into the EMAs, and then you see this 21 hold and you're adding here at 150, 153, you're thinking 149, maybe 148 for a stop loss. You can size up a little bit here, or take an initial size that's pretty decent, and then first 1 minute candle to make a new high, 165. You get a halt. That's nice. Unhalts, halts again. Topping tail, I would have taken some off the table for sure here at 2. And then again, you're sitting tight, looking to see, are we going to keep these EMAs lined out nicely? And do we get this transition? This is a mid compression squeeze with the red dots. Do we get this transition back to strong bull? And then subsequently looking at this move higher. But this has really moved nicely. Like what a great moving stock. Not only percentage wise, but just multiple opportunities on this stock throughout the day. So hopefully this recap is helpful to you. Appreciate you taking some time to check it out with me. I'll be live trading and recording again tomorrow, and wishing you all the very best of luck in this trading week. Thank you. Take care.